Nicky Cursio, welcome to AKTIV. Thank you for coming on.
No problem.
This is the first show of 20 Minutes with Ryan, so we're going to be talking to the artists every single time after the sets, and we're just getting a bit of an insight into if you enjoyed the set, sort of music you played, and what you've been doing prior to this. So I mean, you obviously picked up on something you said just now before we went live. You've been DJing since 2009, is that right?
Yeah, 2009. So yeah, when about 2009, I remember buying my first set of decks, and so I was about 17 at the time, and I remember locking myself in my bedroom for about 2-3 months, just learning how to mix and stuff like that. And then I picked it up, and obviously now we're here.
What did you start with? Like, and also, actually, no, tell you what made you want to start DJing? So when you actually went and got the decks, what was the thing like? I need to do that.
The love of music. I always been into dance music and stuff like that. And I remember going to Escape. When I was about 14, 15, sneaking under the fence and stuff like that, hopping over the fence to the smoking area. I used to go to Escape every week. For years leading up to that, I just loved the music, really.
Yeah, Escape was good, wasn't it?
Escape was great.
Yeah, there was Swansea's been missing something since that left, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it was great, and then towards the end, it just sort of went off. But I think the Kingsway itself just sort of faded away with all the other clubs that are there. And obviously, when bars started closing later on Wine Street, people didn't really see the need to go to the Kingsway. So I think it was a great club. Great venue, but it was just in the wrong location towards the end of its tenure, I reckon. Yeah,
they had some big DJs in there as well, didn't they? I think it was like Above and Beyond played there once.
Yeah, they were massive. I mean, back when it first opened, I'm not sure when it opened, maybe late 90s, early 90s, they had some massive DJs. Even Carl Cox played there at one point, you know what I mean? And that says it all, doesn't it? So, and I mean, obviously, Trance, even towards the end of it, they had some massive trance DJs there. There's some pretty big house DJs there, but he also had people like Danny Dyer and those kind of nights with a good laugh, like beating Danny Dyer and playing sort of alongside him. That was that was great.
What's that like, actually playing alongside people like that? People obviously, because you've probably seen him in like Football Factory.
Yeah,
and stuff
well,
like that
I thought he wouldn't be as cockney, and I didn't think I thought he put it on a bit for his sort of characters he played, but he's as cockney as he come, really. He's a good laugh, he was.
Yeah. Who's the biggest artist that you've met or played alongside?
There's been quite a lot. I mean, Anna Patrick was one of the latest ones. I think going back in the junk days, he had people like Hottins 82, Ben Pierce, Leon Bushwhacker. There's a massive as Joseph was there playing with him. And then obviously after that, then it was Patrick Toppin. I've played with him 2-3 times now, maybe. First time was in Lighthouse Project. Solo had some massive artists as well. Scream, I remember Scream. I was playing with Scream. I warmed up for him, and I remember he turned up early. The crowd, it was full, and I remember him saying, itching to get on, and I remember him jumping on him for the last half hour of my set. So we went back to back for a half hour.
Yeah.
That was a good laugh. There's been loads. There's loads over the years.
What would you say is the most amount of people you've played in front of at any given in one time? Obviously, if you're warming up for some of the big DJs like that, I'm guessing they've got some really big crowds.
Fun, yeah. I mean, when Sin City obviously is a massive venue in Swansea.
Yeah.
It can hold. I don't know how much it can hold, but it could hold a good couple hundred. And I remember the Patrick Toppin event. This was just before he sort of was making it big, and this was when his first track came out. And obviously, he was just a massive buzz for him being in Swansea. And I remember that it was just you couldn't move in it. So I don't know, just under 1,000 probably in Escape Bank holidays as well. They were rammed. It's just missed those days now, I suppose.
Do you get the nerves for going into it then? What's the, maybe not so much now, because I think you get a little bit more used to it, I suppose, don't you? But at the start, playing in front of a big crowd, what were the nerves like?
You're always anxious to get on before going on, and you were always itching to go on at the same time, so you had a mixture of feelings, like you really wanted to get out there when it was packed, and obviously sometimes then you were a bit nervous. But as you said there, I think you bang on. I think the more experience you get doing it, the easier it is, and you just want to get out there. It's great. It's the best part about it is when you've got a good couple hundred people there, that you sort of dictate how their night goes. And I thought that sort of it's a nice feeling. I like that, and obviously, you know, you create the atmosphere. If you're playing early, you've got to set the mood. You've got to get people there. Got to keep people on the dance floor. If you directly before the big artist, before the big name, you know, you can't step on his toes. You've got to sort of build it up nicely for them just to take it on. And if you're playing last, then obviously your main aim is to stop everyone from leaving and going to bed or going to a house party.
Play the graveyard shift.
Yes, I mean, you know, you should go through all the emotions really, because it all depends on purely, you know, the event that night, who's there, and everything really.
Have you played anywhere outside of the UK then, or have you like Ibiza and things like that?
Yeah, I did towards the start playing Ibiza. Nothing major but it was like a little pool party, like a private pool party. Yeah, that was good. I'm trying to figure if I played anywhere else I can think of, but no, I played in Ibiza, and that was that was good.
So someone's starting out now, if they wanted to learn how to DJ, for example, and get into the industry, what would be the advice you'd give to them?
Have a passion to start with.
Yeah.
I think if there's no passion there, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons really. I think you got to love the music. You got to know what music you love as well. I mean, don't just play what's maybe accepted or cool at the time. You know, that because again you defeat the object of having a passion. Another thing is go to the events and sort of pick up the vibe, meet people, and that kind of stuff really. I
love what you said there about the passion side of it, because that's pretty much what I was looking for from that. Is like anything, you've got to have a passion for it to really do well in it, and to put 110%, haven't you?
You're not going to be motivated, and again, you just do it for the wrong reasons. I mean, you see things on Instagram, you know, like the little reels function they got on the go now. It's like a little 10-second video. I think they're trying to copy TikTok or something like that. But you see people, and they just do they just play around with sort of the sliders and the buttons and the knobs and stuff, and they just put their hands in the end. You look at what they do with their hands, they're not doing anything, and you just think, you know, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You've got to have a passion, and you know, and if you don't have the passion, like I said, you know, you're not going to be motivated, and to try and do better, and to try and get these big gigs and stuff like that.
Yeah. 100%. And do you think, going a bit deeper with this one actually, do you think there's a lot of artists, there's like, I know the ego gets in the way maybe, like the thought of being the DJ, they actually like that more than the actual being a DJ and playing the music. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. Don't get me wrong, there's obviously, you know, some people may prefer that side of it, and if that's what they want, then I suppose you can't stop them. I mean, everyone does things for their own reasons, and you know, some people are right, some people are wrong. You know, it's just a matter of opinion on it. I think back when I first started DJing, sort of 2009, 2010, you know, Instagram didn't even exist, you know what I mean? Facebook, you know, it was just for playing Farmville and stupid things like that, you know what I mean? So you didn't get into it at the time for that reason. Yeah.
How good was Farmville? You just brought that up now, I can't stop thinking about it. I was going to say, I'm definitely going to be playing that later.
But that's what I mean, back then, like, you know, you couldn't do live streams, you couldn't, you know, take pictures and videos and stuff like that, and, you know, so if you're doing it for, you know, as you said, for like image and stuff like that, then again, I think it's the wrong reason. But obviously, everyone will do things for their own reasons.
What's your thoughts on live streams on social media and stuff like that? 'Cause I know there's a lot of issues with the licenses over the music you're playing. It gets taken down and stuff. Through the first lockdown, a lot of people had trouble with that.
I was gonna say, I think they're great. You know, live streams are brilliant. Obviously, this is a live stream myself, but I mean. I think you're reaching out to different people and keeping other people entertained and stuff like that. And when it comes to like the copyright stuff, it's just a load of nonsense, really. You know what I mean? You know, you're not really making money from doing it and stuff like that. So I don't understand why they've got so much copyright infringement sort of protection on it. Well, you do understand, I suppose, there's money in there, money talks. But I mean, it is a pain in the backside, because I remember I did a couple, and you know, either getting kicked off or some tracks were getting muted. I remember I did a 6-hour live set for just going back to all the junk tracks basically, and at the time it was great, and then when I listened to it back then, because it obviously saves to Mixcloud, a lot of it was just muted, and then it plays it on track and then it's muted, and then you're just thinking, I mean, that's just there for people to listen to it, you know. I don't understand why you've got copyright and protection on it.
Yeah, it hinders creativity, I suppose, doesn't it? All that kind of stuff. But like you said, I can see, you know, you can see why it is there, but it's just, I suppose it's quite annoying for an artist who's trying to create something, especially when you've got a passion for it as well.
If someone was making money from doing it,
yeah.
You know, live streams and stuff like that, then obviously they'd have to get the right licenses and permissions and stuff like that. So you know, I get it then. But I mean, if someone's just doing an hour mix in their bedroom, like, you know, what's the point? Like,
and with going back to your style of DJing, then what's your obviously trance is one of the ones you said you initially started playing, was it?
Yeah, I started playing trance. I was right into my trance when I was going to Escape when I was about 15, 16. But I also started listening to a lot of house and stuff. I remember when I first started DJing, I remember it was two people. It was Lloyd Scoulden and Leon Singh, and both of them gave me massive help in sort of you know, with tracks, give me tracks and sort of give me tips. So I started playing a lot of house, and then I started really enjoying it. I remember the lounge on Wine Street. I remember the lounge used to do a Monday night, open deck night, and basically you should turn up. You should book an hour slot. You should turn up and play. And I was 17, so obviously you used to lie about your age, get in. You weren't the DJ, you know, in clubs at the time. And I remember DJing there for a good couple of months. All my friends from sixth form and from school and stuff like that would come, and it was great. You know, Monday night sort of sesh, like. And then after that, then I remember I had a message on Facebook from a guy called Mark Morris who's a run junk, and he said, "Oh, we're doing a night on every Wednesday in the Vaults under No Sign Wine Bar.
Yeah.
You know, would you like to could you send me some mixes? You know, I've seen that you're doing things and stuff like that, and it went from there. And so I played there on Wednesdays, and it lasted for about 3 months. They had a license that finished like 2 so like it was hard to get the students off the street down into the basement. And obviously they weren't open till late. It sort of didn't work out massively, but that got me introduced to Mark Morris. And then I started playing for Junkin, and then that was sort of my style then for quite a lot of years. It was tech house, but it was kind of like bassliney kind of stuff as well, which was quite cool. And at the time I was playing in Escape. I had a residency in Escape for about 2 or 3 years in room 2, so that was the house room. So obviously I just played a lot of house. But really, you know, with trance, you know, you've got that thumping, you know, tech trance used to like, and you've got that thumping BPM, you know, sort of anything from 137, 138 BPM above. So for that reason, I used to love techno as well. You know, the fast sort of hard stuff. And yeah, I mean, now I can play sort of anything from house, disco, trance, techno. Yeah, I enjoyed a lot. But again, it all depends on the event, the people who are there, the headliners. You know, you adapt your style to what's going on. I mean, you stay true to what you like, but yeah, you can adapt to anything, and I think that's one of the main things as well.
So we're going back with like you said about Escape now. So obviously Escape's, you know, gone a lot of the bigger clubs from the Kingsway in Swansea. For people not from Swansea, a lot of them have gone. So in terms of the nightlife, obviously, you know, I think it's fair to say that it's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
What would you say is going on in terms of the nightlife at the moment? Where do you think it's going? Do you think it's improving at all? What do you think is needed?
I think Swansea really lacks venues. I mean, that's one of the main things it lacks is big venues, and I think it was all sort of these sort of all the big clubs are all like aimed for students and stuff like that, and you can see why, because obviously they're rammed to the rafters on a Wednesday night. And then you've obviously got any little bars on Wine Street, and every sort of bar now is slowly going down that sort of gin bar and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, you know, they've got a laugh going out and meeting, you know, with your mates and stuff, but there's no real venues for, you know, having club nights. There's a couple still surviving, and obviously you've got the arena right there, and I think that's going to be great for the nightlife. Obviously the plans they've got for the old Mecca Bingo by the police station, they're turning that into a depot now. A depot from Cardiff.
Oh yeah, okay. You know, I was wondering where that was going actually. Yeah, because I'd heard about it, but I never knew where it was going.
Yeah, I think that's going to be great for the city. You know, those kind of things. I mean, there's still little pockets of venues that aren't utilised, I suppose. But yeah, I think the nightlife can only get better. I mean, you got, you know, some brands still out there, you know, doing things. I mean, for example, I still play for Control and I play for Solo, and I think both of them are sort of taking big strides. I think they're doing the right things. You know, for example, Solo have just booked Nina Kravis, you know, in the Brangman Hall, which is just a massive ballroom, sort of the venue. So I think it could hold about 1,300 people. And I mean, you know, if that takes off and those kind of artists, those big money artists work in our venue, it can only go up really, can't it? Because I mean, you know, if you can get someone that big to play in a venue that big and sell out that many tickets in less than a week in a small city like Swansea, I think it's great. And I think I think it can only go up really. And then obviously with Solo, I mean, they're doing not Solo, with Control, they're taking big strides in their bookings as well. And obviously, I think, you know, them using sort of Sin City as well, you know, that's a great venue, that is. And it's just a shame that obviously it's been closed for a year due to COVID, isn't it? But obviously when all this stuff goes gets put to bed, I think people are going to be itching for club nights and stuff like that, and hopefully it's not the end of clubbing really.
I think it's going to go massive now. I do think, like you said, when things go back to normal, per se, whatever normal looks like, you know, I think we're going to have a massive influx in the nightlife because people have missed it, you know. I do think that it's taken a hit, but I think the ones that have survived are going to be booming after all this, and I do think that there's going to be a lot more, you know, businesses and opportunities start, you know, coming around after all of this. So fingers crossed anyway, so it's going to get a lot better. So last question then, so with AKTIV, after doing the set for AKTIV now, what are your thoughts around AKTIV? What does it mean to you based on your kind of interaction with it today?
Yeah, I mean, I just randomly saw it pop up on social media with Neil Navarra sort of playing, you know, playing a castle, and I remember looking and thinking, fair play. I wasn't sure who AKTIV were, you know, and sort of who was running it behind the scenes and stuff like that, but I thought, fair play, that's a decent idea, and the production wise and all that did all look pretty good. These living room sessions again, I think they're pretty good, and obviously having sort of informal chats, I think it's very good. I you know, like as I said, there's no clubbing right now, people have got to have something, haven't they? You know, and you know, everyone's doing all the live streams and stuff like that, and I think it's great.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on, my friend.
No problem.
Awesome. Can't wait for it to go live.